Welcome to World Transits Today. I'm Art Granoff. Connect with me at referenceastrology.com, where you can check out some of my offerings. You can look at the library, discover some information about archetypal astrology. You can even watch a new video I made about psychedelic integration with archetypal intelligence. And you can read about me, Art Granoff. And today, I'm going to show the December 2025 world transits in archetypal astrology. Let's start off today with the full moon on December 4th. That's right, it's December 4th, a full moon. The sun is opposite the moon. It's exact at 3:52 p.m. on the 4th. And you probably know that the sun and the moon, known as the full moon, when they're furthest apart from each other, it's a very special day. It's been celebrated throughout history in many cultures. In fact, most cultures, you just look up in the sky and see that big moon and you know something's going on. Ready? Sun opposite the moon. Sacred day, one of the two sacred sun-moon days every month. And they happen all the time. They happen in the past. They're going to happen in the future. They're happening on the 4th, this month, 2025, last one of the year. So it's a good day to celebrate. Celebrate our outward self, the person we are every day in the world, and celebrate our inward self, our inner person, our feelings, emotions. There's two parts of us. And the full moon is when the sun and the moon are furthest away from each other in the sky. It's a great time to celebrate that. So, cheers. And did you know on the full moon this month, there's something called a midpoint? And if you look right here, the sun and the moon, we notice that right in the middle of them, or right there, is the planet Jupiter and the planet Pluto. And if we look here on this full moon chart, and we see the full moon, in between them is Jupiter and Pluto, like I just mentioned. So Jupiter relates to expansion, success, and good fortune. And Pluto is about power, transformation, either power that takes over your life and walks you around like a marionette, or power that bubbles up from within you that turns out to be your true voice. Maybe you have something to say. So on this full moon, we also have Jupiter and Pluto opposition. When we add the planet Saturn and the planet Neptune, and we add the planet Jupiter and the planet Mercury, what we find out is we get a grand trine of four planets going through the full moon. We've got Mercury with Saturn, Mercury with Jupiter, Mercury with Neptune. We've got Jupiter with Saturn. We've got Jupiter with Neptune. So let me unpack that a little bit. Right away, we've got Mercury with the planet Saturn. Mercury represents our mind, our intellect, the way we communicate, our style. And Saturn represents BPM2, being stuck in the birth canal. Well, that's great before we're born, but also after we're born. Saturn, besides being limitation and frustration, can represent structure and something that's solid, mastering something, something practical. So if you have Mercury today in a trine with Saturn, Mercury, Saturn, using your mind, learning about something practical. So you can do practical things in the world. Also, Mercury with Neptune. Well, if Saturn is practical, Neptune is idealistic, about dreams and what's ideal. So Mercury with Neptune is about mystery. So again, Mercury, Saturn about mastery, about mastering something practical to provide services in the world, making a living perhaps. Mercury Neptune provides what's illogical, doesn't make sense practically. Mercury Neptune is about dreams and aspirations. It's about music, and poetry, it's dancing, and all types of art. Mercury, Neptune, let your imagination flow. Mystery. Mercury, Saturn, learn something practical. Mastery. Then we add Mercury with Jupiter. Jupiter expands on our mind and our ability to communicate. Then we notice that Jupiter, expansion, with Saturn, structure, Jupiter expansion, with Neptune imagination, flow, all of a sudden we've got a great package here. A four-planet grand trine with Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and Jupiter, right in the middle of the full moon. Hey, it just looks like abundance on top of abundance here. Let's go a little further. If we add the planet Mars, right there. Mars is about motivation, our will, getting going towards something. And we notice that Mars is squaring both Saturn and Neptune. Okay, Mars square Saturn, Mars square Neptune. Mars with Saturn. Mars is force and Saturn's resistance. So it could be one of these, punching the wall. How far are you going to get until either the hand breaks or the wall breaks? Not a great strategy. Or Saturn with Mars, Mars with Saturn, can be courage forged through time. Courage to do something forged through time. Mars, Saturn. Now we have Mars, Neptune. Well, the famous line for that from us is holotropic, moving towards wholeness. Mars, Neptune. It's the courage to go deep, the courage to seek what's important, the courage to transcend. So we've got the full moon, sun opposite the moon. We've got Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, grand trine. We've got Mars, motivation on building dreams. We've got Uranus now, Mercury opposite Uranus. Uranus is about freedom, BPM 4, the new thing. And Mercury is the mind and communicating. Usually the aha moment when we get it. And we notice also that Uranus is in a sextile with Saturn and Neptune, and that Pluto is in a sextile with Saturn and Neptune. So in other words, the first part of the month, December 4th, 2025, we've got the full moon, we've got the grand trine, and we have Saturn and Neptune either spaced out and confused or building Saturn dreams Neptune. With Mars, motivation, with Mercury, our mind, with Jupiter, good fortune, with Uranus, the new thing, and with Pluto, transformation. I rest my case. And now we're going to look at the 2026 outer planet world transits. And we notice if this is 2026 right here and 2027, that we've got 6 major outer planet transits going on for 2026. Okay, and if we remove Saturn for a moment, we see we've got 3 right here. We've got Uranus sextile Neptune. We've got Uranus trine Pluto and Neptune on Pluto. Now, these are all combinations of the 4 BPMs right there. And if to review, BPM 1 is everything's okay before delivery. Neptune, BPM2, problems, problems being stuck in the birth canal, frustration, Saturn, and then more intensity and more trouble, struggle, lots of struggle, trying to get out of there, Pluto, and then the fourth matrix, Uranus. We made it. Freedom, liberation, the new day. So we notice here Uranus sextile Neptune. That's BPM 4, freedom, and BPM 1, Neptune, transcendence. Well, that's pretty good. Now, where are you going to find that usually in life? Not too many places, right? What about Uranus trine Pluto? Freedom with intensity. A lot of freedom, a lot of release, BPM 4, and a lot of BPM 3, intensity. Where are you going to get a situation like that? You know. And how about Neptune sextile Pluto? Neptune BPM 1, Pluto BPM 3. Okay. The spiritual transformation complete. Now, these things sound pretty far out and pretty wild. These are the types of experiences that you have in psychedelics. Yes? This is when logic is over, experience gets big, and many times it can be thought of as easy access to the transcendent, freedom with intensity, and spiritual transformation. These outer planets don't mean much logically, but experientially, they mean a lot. Let's add Saturn. In the middle of all this, if you see here, if this was 2025, just finished, and 2026 up to here, we notice we've got three giant Saturn transits in the middle as well. We've got Saturn sextile Uranus, which goes through 2027, Saturn conjunct Neptune through 2027, and Saturn sextile Pluto. Saturn conjunct Neptune. It's a huge 3-year transit. Happens every 36 years, Saturn conjunct Neptune. And you could say, right here, that Saturn is about limitation and boundaries, reality and discipline. And Neptune is idealism and it loosens boundaries, spirituality and transcendence. And together, they're about building dreams or tensions between what's ideal and real. And then also Saturn sextile Pluto, creating structures through time that you create to help with your transformation. Okay? Whenever we work with Saturn, we're referring to time, things that happen through time. So Saturn requires lots of patience. Saturn requires patience. And then important business for 2026 would be fresh Jupiter transits. Let's take a look here. We see here that around the end of September, early October, we started to get Jupiter sextile Uranus. And you see Jupiter goes retrograde for a few months, then comes back. So Jupiter sextile Uranus for close to a year. And let's say this is one of the best transits available. Jupiter expands, and Uranus is about freedom. So Jupiter Uranus usually refers to big breakthroughs coming up. So look forward to that. We've got Jupiter sextile Neptune. Jupiter again would be getting larger, expanding, providing success and good fortune. With Neptune, the transcendent, the one, undifferentiated consciousness. Doesn't get much better than that. Jupiter, Neptune. And as I showed before, Jupiter opposite Pluto. And here's the long version of it, which lasts about a year. Jupiter, Pluto, expansion, good fortune towards your transformation. So it's safe to say, here's our outer planet landscape for 2026, and it looks great. Just waiting for us to dive right in. It's coming up. Jimmy Cliff, who just died last week, 10 days ago. The great artist from Jamaica, the man who started with nothing, who wrote some really great songs, played some great music, and became an international star. Jimmy Cliff. Here's his chart right here. And what a chart he has, too. He's a performer, right? He's a singer, artist, and he starts right away with the sun with Pluto. In fact, it's almost exact. Sun is our identity, and Pluto is our true voice, flowing all over the place. Sun, Pluto, Jimmy Cliff. And with love, we notice Pluto, Sun, Venus, Pluto. Very nice. We see in Jimmy Cliff's chart something pretty amazing that we've been talking about, or I've been talking about for months, all of 2025, which was Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus and Pluto. And wouldn't you know it, as if right on cue, Jimmy Cliff with Saturn square Neptune, right, in his chart, Saturn, Neptune, and where are we here? Uranus in a sextile with Pluto. So he's got Uranus, Pluto, and Saturn, Neptune. Pretty amazing, huh? Jimmy Cliff. Also, Jimmy Cliff has the sun and the moon with the three outer planets. Sun, Uranus, personality is really open to the new thing. He's got his sun with Neptune, imagination's flowing, and Sun Pluto, bringing the goods from deep inside that we all can relate to. He's got the moon with Uranus. He's really open emotionally. Moon with Neptune. He wants to give. He's compassionate, empathic. And Moon Pluto. Very intense emotions. Gets them out through singing, through playing music. Jimmy Cliff. Here's some of Jimmy Cliff's songs. And we notice 1969, many rivers to cross. He has many barriers to cross to getting where he's going. It's kind of a Saturn Neptune theme. In 1970, you can get it if you really want. Uranus Pluto, but you must try. Saturn Neptune. In 1972, just as he starts his Saturn return, comes out with The Harder They Come, Mars Uranus theme. Don't wait for a reward in heaven. Get the motivation and claim your freedom now. In 1972, sitting in limbo, being stuck, going forward with life's challenges, kind of a Saturn Neptune theme. And 1973, struggling man, Saturn Neptune, personal struggle, perseverance, and grappling with difficult situations, capturing a tone of emotional tension and resilience. Jimmy Cliff. And look at that smile. Is that a smile or what? Let's go back here a second. Jimmy Cliff with the Venus Jupiter smile, the giant smile. There he is. Okay. And there's a shot with him and his young friend, Bob Marley. Thank you, Jimmy Cliff. On December 19th, we've got the new moon, the sun conjunct the moon. 2 weeks ago, we had the full moon, sun opposite the moon. But right on schedule comes the new moon. And this new moon is 19th of December at 5:48 p.m. The sun and the moon are exact conjunction. Let's see who is visiting this sun and moon with us. Let's see. Let's take the planet Saturn, the planet Neptune. Hey, it looks like we've got a square to Saturn and Neptune. Sun Saturn, Sun Neptune, Moon Saturn, Moon Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. So here we are. Here's an interesting one. Here's the four outer planets, like I mentioned before, Uranus, trine Pluto, freedom with intensity, and Saturn, Neptune, building dreams, with the new moon, one of the two major moon and sun holidays of the month, bam, as a midpoint between the four outer planets. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty spectacular imagery right there. In fact, if we just all sat for like a half an hour and stared at that, Jupiter is still with Neptune and Saturn. Jupiter is still with Pluto. And Jupiter here, sextile Uranus, big breakthrough right there. Planet Mars. Mars is conjunct the sun and the moon and square to Saturn and Neptune. That's pretty darn exciting. A lot going on at this new moon here. We've got the planet Venus. Whoops. We got the planet Venus as well, is in a square to Saturn and Neptune. So it looks like we've got this giant four-planet conjunction for the new moon with the sun, the moon, Venus, and Mercury, all squaring Saturn, Neptune. Jupiter is on all the four outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And I rest my case. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Running down the December 2025 World Transits. And this is the last World Transits Today show for 2025. So I hope you've had a great year. It's been really wonderful presenting all year. And if you want to review any of 2025, I suggest go back. I skipped 1 month this year, so you have 11 chances to see what happened in review. And also, if you do that, you can see how the planets keep repeating. The planetary pairs keep repeating. And that's how we learn about them. That's how we go forward. It's learning this information, looking at it against our experience, seeing the archetypal picture in life besides just the personal picture. And some people say that's a very satisfying way to live. A lot of information, a lot of good stuff there to give us more perspective in life. So thanks again. I'm Art Granoff. See you next year.